Okay. Oh, silly me. I forgot music. Ah, stand by. I'll get us some music. Do, 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 do. All right, fine. Make it difficult for me to find it. There we go. Ah, that's better. All right. So, today is the same plan as yesterday. That being, we are going to continue making stuff for the factions. Had that unmuted. An idiot. All right. All right. So, where were we? Maledictra. So, let's see here. So, Maledictra, we had a cup more of a cursed thing going on. Which is like you had some sort of negative thing happening too. I think we can still run with that. Oh, whoa, what's happening here? That was weird. That's weird. Why did it do that? Hmm. Also, I'm just noticing how sharp my Nah, leave it at default. It's fine. It's fine. So, what we had before is we had curses. Ooh, apparently I messed up my elbow yesterday. Where you could either be an Echoborn, Shadow Seeker, which is you were just adapted. You were just also slightly. You were also just caught blind. Doom Spoken, which is just you hear things. Wendigo Desire, you have a general inclination towards cannibalism. And doubly afflicted was just like it's just all the like the little curses, like just a little bit of bad luck in life. And the more cursed you become, the more powerful you got. I need the charging cable for my phone. One moment, please. All right, there we go. I actually have to plug in my earbuds because they're actually dead, and I'm going to need them later. All right, so right now we have the Dust Cloaks and the Caravanners. So the Dust Cloaks and the Caravanners. So the Caravanners are the specialized in transportation of goods and people around Maledictra. So they're the people they're the organization that travel around. They're like the public transport. Or not public transport, they're like the private transport, the public transport, everybody can use them. They're just the universal people that everybody is using. The Dust Cloaks are the hunters. They're the hunters of the creatures of the dark. A lot of undead, but a lot of influences from the Shadowfell. So we can dig into a little bit into what the Shadowfell does in Pathfinder, because I don't know exactly what it does. Like everybody kind of has their own little opinion on what it does in 5th edition, because it's not it's very simplistic in its definition, but everybody kind of has their own thing that they like to do with their own thing, right? So I'm gonna try and maybe figure out what that influence is and go with that for the dust cloaks. For the last thing, because it's really common. So, for example, if the caravanners are the ones that are wandering about, the dust cloaks are the ones that fight everything mostly outside. What we don't have something from Grimshade. So let's get something from Grimshade. And it's very rough. I don't have anything in Grimshade. The prison in the place of the ruling council. Law, but with control, ensuring that it has to be on the walls, so not see within. Great protection can always keep it strong, but it's fear that what lies outside the world is binds people together. Let's make ourselves another faction here. And let's come up with a criminal organization. It's a fantasy name generator. My beloved. If it'll load. There we go. All right. Guild name generator. We'll stick with English. Searing Prestige, Tyranny Outlaws, Association of the Bear. Charlight. That's not bad, actually. Serial Killers Enraged, Heroes of the Unversed, Merciers of Pristine, Running Bane, Bronze Guard, Blue Plague. What do they do? The criminal organization, it'd be a criminal organization. That's sort of like also related to the government to some extent. Something that kind of keeps them from... It keeps the general public in line, but also is just does what they want. Cunning laws. Sightless. Punished. Sightless punished. Haven's enemy. Ooh, Haven's law. No, it actually doesn't work because the Havens are a different thing in this. That is a good name though, Haven's Law. Winged Valor, Angry Shadow Brawlers, Dashing Stand, Yvonne's Shield. Flames of the Darkness, Works of the Band, Fallen Wrath, Large Magnets, for Occupation, Macabre. Macabre's Law? No. Law's Syndicate. Feldon. Ooh. Instead of Grimshade, how about Pleasant Dawn? I got an idea. Let's go with Shades of Pastel, Luminous, or Vibrant. Noble Bright. Ooh, what about Royal? Vibrant Royal or Vibrant Light? Vibrant Light as an irony. Let's go with Royal Dawn. Shimmering Dawn, Virtuous. I kind of like Dawn. I kind of like the Dawn there. Ordinary, Grouchy, Robust, Protector. Dawn of the Sea. Wind Crushes, Shimmer Force, Chaos Breakers. I'm not gonna do Dawnbreaker. As much as I would love to just do Dawnbreaker, I'm not gonna do Dawnbreaker. I'm gonna get so much flack for that one. Because if I remember correctly, that is a Skyrim weapon. Yeah, it is. Oh, it's also a Dota 2 weapon. And Path of Exile weapon. Okay, you know what? Screw it. We'll go Dawnbreakers. It's used in a bunch of places. All right. I can close like a bunch of useless tabs here. There we go. All right. We have We have our last thing here. Dawnbreakers. All right, so let's start with the Dust Cloaks. So the Dust Cloaks are caravan. Oh, my bad. So they deal in protection, they deal in transportation, they deal in travel by cart mostly. Let's see here. Is there any spells like Find the Path or something like that? I suppose that would be primal. Could we give them just Fleet Step? It's pretty good, honestly, at all times. It is a concentration spell. Oh wait, no, concentration is something different in Pathfinder, dummy. Concentrate just means that anything that would disrupt it doesn't allow for it. Helpful steps. That's the latter one. Weave wood. Oh, interesting. Funeral Flames. I don't think I saw this one before. Oh, it's uncommon. Okay, that's why I missed it before. Let's go back to gear. This feels like a gear scenario. Perhaps give them a field guide. This contains illustrations of information on edible and dangerous plants. Most field guides tend to be region-specific. If you're attempting to subset in the field's guide's region, the skill you're untrained in, the consulting book gives you a +2 circumstance bonus to the skill check. Yeah, so it basically it accounts for a lack of training if you don't have the training. This would be something that they would probably put in the this actually might be more of the cloaks than the transports. Because they spend astronomical amounts of time in the field. And you want to travel light. Wherever possible. Familiar satchel. The summer case is made to protect any tiny or smaller creatures contained within. Okay, yeah, no, not that. Grappling gun? No. Nightstand, or is that the banner? That's the banner. Regain physical resistance. Or potency ruined if the armor is chain. Armor grip, you have a specialization. And you have the armor specialization effect. You instead increase the physical resistance to chain armor specialization by 2. It reduces the damage by less than the damage rolled. It hits before, however, the reinforces the speed penalty of your armor by 5. Yeah. Tracking tag. war saddle, water purifier. Blade launcher, burnishing plate, clockwork shelf. Deployable cover, dragon's crest. Floating tent, grappling gun. Clockwork portable mount. Sibling coin. Waterproof journal, day goggles. Well, where is it? The field guide would definitely go to the cloaks, so we'll just do that now. Mostly hunters, mercenaries, and the desperate fight the dark creatures that wander in the region. Have most of very short careers, but be it early retirement or death. And I'm gonna move this one to Maledictor, actually. Get rid of this. So they mostly deal in the outposts. Dust cloaks. Guy that faced tearing finishes the brutal, bitter cold and relentless storm. By those who call this place home, is not the weather that is feared the most. So, actually, having a thought. The caravanners would value this the most because they're the ones that are going to be out there the longest traveling. So, specializes in transporting goods and people around Maledictor. While well guarded, they have the means to keep monsters away. Used by just about everyone that has any form of business outside of Grimshade. So, protecting. Predicting, driving, or managing. Managing them. The harsh weather. The harsh weather and the long-winded travels. Road, a place to call home. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on this one right now. On kind of the harsh weather and the long road. Winded travels. Okay, no. And ever-present threats. Ways to stay guarded and alive. Benefits. I might change all these to 4 so you don't just get the automatic happy disposition. There will be like 1 contact. Like this way you get like the 1 contact. They're considered indifferent. But 5 is where they start to like you. As a clan rather than individuals. All right. So what did I say this was? It is the field guide. The region of Maledictra. 4 reputation with the caravanners. Basically, I want the bonus reputation to be you've got a friend or 2, right? It's representative of like someone who manages a bunch of members who's gonna like you. Probably. And that way you're just not left in the dust somewhere. Let's actually look up let's check out the shadow plane in Pathfinder. Okay. Let's go with... Let's just check dimensions first. Dream Pains to Harrow Court. That's legacy content. Alright, so we have the Inner Sphere Planes, which is the Creation Forge. Plane of Air, Plane of Earth, Plane of Fire, Plane of Water, Wood. Universe is the Platonic realm of the mortal home of mortal life. Then we have the Void. This requires an extensive amount of extra research. Outer Sphere Plains. This is probably a longer list. Abaddon, Axis Boneyard, Elysium, Heaven, Hell, Maelstrom, Nirvana, and the Outer Rifts. Transitive Planes. Here we go. So we got the Astral Plane, the Ethereal Plane, the First World, the Netherworld. Alright. Overlaps the universe and severe buffer to conduit between it and the void. Perpetual dim half-light landscape containing similar features to overlapping universe, but is otherwise warped and twisted fashion. Cities the universe might exist in the netherworld, sometimes ruined and sometimes as terrible, frightening replicas. The darkness also holds point of beauty, the relative safety, the gracie of shadow absolum. The DeLorean owns Absolum, holds cross-planar trade facilities by permanent one-way portals out of the gloom. By dark, altered versions of creatures of the universe, many of the immigrants have adapted to the shadowy features. Okay, so it's the netherworld in this case, rather than the Shadowfell, that would be called. Okay, so deep connection to the netherworld. Umbral dragons, shades, fletchlings, Briskar. Okay. So so the netherworld hazards. All right, so typical hazards. All right, the netherworld, the setting. No. Nope. Let's try Reddit. Reddit's usually pretty good for this stuff like this. Version of the Shadowfell. Mostly like a dark copy of the Glorian Shadow World. People fate might then find themselves here. Philosophers. A prophet, Shadow Giant. Since you're new to Pathfinder. Thanks, first Pathfinder. Wiki.com has a lot of info on Pathfinder. It's silly but distorted. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Okay, so there isn't actually any inherent natural hazards, it's just always dark and miserable. Okay. So maybe we don't use the netherworld. Instead, we use the void instead, because that's like what the netherworld connects to. Destruction as sap and influence consumes and operates. Death swarms of undead do not crave for this. Yeah, so this would be more the void. Call of the Void. Is this a spell? Yeah, not looking. Void Plane. Does void flow? No. Flow source normally it does not. Plays no part in cycle of role plays. Morning Frontline HQ. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. I don't know why my alerts aren't working. That's weird. I'll have to fix that. Maybe the bot died. I shouldn't have, though. It gave me the notification. Well, nonetheless. Okay, so this is just like, it's mostly just unexplained. So that actually works really, really well. So I can kind of get away with a bunch of nonsense, it looks like. I could just give them the traveling cloak. But it's one of those things where I'm not entirely sure that actually just works too well. You stream just Pathfinder? No, I only recently started picking up Pathfinder. I've been doing a lot of D&D stuff over the years. Probably will still do some D&D stuff here and there, but I'm getting really addicted to Pathfinder's system. So I'll probably be doing a bunch of that. I do play video games sometimes, mostly on the more retro side because that's about all my computer can handle. Oh, I just got a notification here. What's going on? Oh, okay, that's fine. Still fairly new to Pathfinder. Sounds good. Yep. I usually just sit here and hang out. I'm a game or two. Actually stream on Mix. Yeah. I find if you stick to one thing too much, you kind of end up getting burned out. Like, at least myself, I need a little bit of variety. Maybe, there we go. Maybe we can do a weapon. Yeah, but it's mostly shooters. Yeah, I can't do shooters. I suck at shooters, man. I'm so bad at shooters. Like, the only shooters I'm halfway decent at are, like, are hero shooters. Because hero shooters, you can get away with, like, firing into a crowd. But there's also a lot of other rules that either don't require you to shoot. It's a lot more about controlling space. So I'm better at those. But the last hero shooter I played was, what was the last shooter I played? Probably, oh man, it was probably Overwatch. Like old Overwatch. It's not gonna be weapon. Maybe we can go consumables. Been streaming this long or new to it? I've kind of just been streaming on and off for the last like 5-6 years, probably. It's been more of like just a thing I just do for my own enjoyment than anything else. A lot more of like just for something to do. Most of the time, I don't have a whole like no. You know, sometimes there's people here, but not a whole lot. Sure. Traits. Wouldn't be in traits. It would be in here maybe. No. Rarity types, groups, hands. Magic shift. Okay. It wouldn't be one that would be locked in to it for about a year or two. Nice. Now, if you're enjoying it, like, keep doing it, man. Where are the people? I don't know. Probably at home. Enjoying what little bit of the stream they decided to pop in for. I also realize that I don't stream at particularly good times for people that are inside of the Pathfinder niche. Because a lot of people tend to stay up, not late, but they tend to not get up super early. So. No. Spirit Thrasher. Bone, some solid outer. Splinters affixed to a metal chain at the end of a stick. A powerful flail. Many Coho warriors insist on vicious crack of weapons make strikes. Their heads in a soul like husks struck from brain. No. There is. Let's see here. No. This is a tricky one. I don't want to give damage reduction to the void. This one's got Discord to connect. Yeah, the link to it should be in the thing down at the bottom. You can also just type in Discord, like the regular commands. Should give you the link to it. That one is subject to be dismantled at some point. Kind of rebuild because that one on the back end is an absolute mess. I'm tempted to give them an Everlight crystal. The impulse control attached to the wheelchair. The fingers are nerve impulses, making it accessible for those with mobility restrictions and other health conditions. You still can't move the wheelchair if you're physically or magically prevented from doing so, such as being grabbed or magically paralyzed. Ah. Versatile tinderbox. Typical versatile tinderbox colors are black, blue, green, which when used in fire color tinders to alter the flame's color to match. And keeping it. The box is perfectly carved and constructed to hold tinder, keeping it completely dry but incapable of closing if you hold anything else. The tinderbox reshapes itself. It's never out of tinder when its owner is in need, but it never produces a surplus of tinder either. Okay. All right. Oh. Worn items. Cloak of feline rest. No. So these are all like auditory simulator. Items resemble. Package items are printed to resemble your face or some metaphorical thereof. In turn, dying with a dying value of 3 or greater, instead of making a recovery check, you lose the dying condition but remain unconscious at 0 hit points. Mask cracks in half and is destroyed. The psychops won't easily be fooled again. You are temporarily immune to the effects of any psychopom's mask for 1 year. That's it. That's the one. That's the one. Can't say cons mask. +4 reputation with the dust cloaks. Those who call this place home, but all right. Flying creatures that prowl the lands. Conditions are brutal, bitter cold, and the storms for those who call this place home, but it's not the weather that most fear. There we go. Maledictra. I should actually change this to... Actually, no. We can just do this. There. Works. All right. Dawnbreakers. Those would be from Grimshade. Alrighty. Oh. Benefits. We need something related to thieves. It was in the gear. It was something like chords or something like that. No sustains as the purchase of returns we use match previous ones. Ones in the room only lit by dim candles reflect metal threads shimmer a specific pattern. And they said use these cores to prevent outsiders from. No. What about the coin? There was one that was coin, sibling coin. Other. Secret. Trader's ring. I think this is a band allows it to be taken to any jeweler adjusted different to the original size. It's designed to hold 1 dose of poison. Nope. Fingerprint kit. Membership. They would use the membership cords. Yeah, we're just gonna use membership cords. It's the easiest one. reputation with Dawnbreakers. All right, and then that's Maledictra taken care of. All right. Soul Methus. Oh, lad. All right, this is gonna be a fun. This is gonna be a fun one. Oh boy. Dramatic natural contrasts, dense evergreen forest draped over rolling hills, rising sun into craggy cliffs and snow-tipped mountains. Harsh weather is unforgiving. Once divided into two separate territories, so here the lands since merged. And banner is distrust. Just the opening little bit there. I don't want to overdo it. All right. And in Solmethus, we have a couple of things. So we have the Matharan Pillars, Bringers of Frost, and the Iron Citadel. Now, we're not going to do the Soulless People, because they're just the ones caught in the middle. That would be an unaffiliated. So, there's the Iron Cardinal, not Citadel, excuse me. Bringers of Frost, which are the Druids. Oh! Oh! Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some more coffee. Alrighty, so let's start with Bringers of Frost. Let's go back into the... That's the dice roll, that's Calendarium. What? We don't need this. Where is... There we go. Hold on. Oh, do I just have them as ones? I do. Okay. Well, in that case, I'll just do that. There we go. And make sure this is all actually alphabetical. Dawnbreaker should be up here. There we go. All right, so we have Bringers of Frost. The Matharan Pillars. So the Iron Cardinal. And then Matharan Pillars. So let's get this rolling. So the Bringers of Frost. Do I have things for them in Soth, or do I just have the Church of Matharan in general? As most call it, is dedicated solely to Matharan and their teachings. Just as evil as well as all attempts to circumvent or replicate it. Those many affluent for the church moving to different places. The church has its eyes. Has many eyes. It's very good at its job. Not all suffer at the hand of the church. That any do not perform heresy of the full blessing. Generally, this means protection from the outside world, allowance to work and prosper inside of controlled lands. That should actually be there. It's its own thing. All right. Well, we'll start with the Bringers of Frost. So, largest faction druid attempts to fend off the Church of Matharan. Has other small druidic factions resisting them. This has promotions of the entry of the Soulmouth is freezing over. Generally does not strike at the church directly, but rather resists it. All right. You spent your life in the cold of the Soulmouth wilds. On the Soulmouth lands. The south. It's wilds. well, not always winter. The life with druids. Not always winter. Nah. The life with druids. On you. Of ret. Here we go. The world magic. While heretic call. Many. Well, heretical to many. Has its uses. Now the real question. What spell do we use? Do we give... So there's... Basically there is... 3 in my head. That kind of fit. And that is either a single casting of Snowball as an innate spell. So naturally, the reason that you would use this at higher levels is for the speed penalties. This is obviously useful, like very, very good at the early game because it's a 2d4 cold damage on a successful attack, which isn't bad at 30. Which at 30 feet isn't insane, but it's not bad. But the big thing here is obviously the minus 10, possibly minus possibly minus 10 feet on their speed. Very powerful, especially at low level. Alternatively, I was thinking either we go Frostbite, just give them the Frostbite cantrip. Which is, of course, the bonus to the weakness on the effect. They just get the Frostbite spell as an innate cantrip. Which innate cantrips do heighten on their own. So this would be a pretty good thing to just have. A lot of times it's not more powerful than another option they have, it's just another option. Naturally detect magic is of course useful. I don't want to give them a cantrip of their choice. And there isn't really anything like that allows you to really do anything inside of what's the word I'm looking for here? Just help cantrip wise or not general living. So I think it's either detect magic is not really thematic here. So I think it's either going to be frostbite or snowball. I personally think frostbite is better. In the general sense long term, because it scales automatically, which I mean at level 3 it's 3d4 plus and then 2 bludgeoning weakness on crit 6 saves. So it's one of those things of basic fortitude saves, so yeah, it's even double. So I think it'll probably end up being the snowball, because the snowball doesn't innately scale. Where's the thing I had here? Vonder Druids, right? Yeah. You gain snowball. It's just one word, yeah. You gain the snowball spell. I need to fix that on you lose the path as an innate spell. There we go. And I'll have to go through and link everything later. Gain snowball is an innate primal spell. I can cast it once per day. Alrighty. The Iron Cardinal. An authoritarian that seeks to take all of Solmethus has many powerful locations and resources. This should be resources. Resources. There we go. Looking to cut out the church and everyone else entirely. Expert negotiations and tactical in its approach to war. So, this one is going to be a banner, I think. Of the Cardinal. Oh my goodness. Living even within the war machine of the Cardinal has garnered everyone some form of training. Well, not all March. Most trained to keep the oppressive church from taking over. Oh, and +4 reputation with Bringers of Frost. Benefits. This is probably going to be the banner. Let's see here. Gear. I think it was Knight's Code or Knight's Standard. Yeah. You gain a Knight's Standard. For the Iron Cardinal. +4 reputation with the Iron Cardinal. Alrighty. Alrighty, this one I'm going to have you choose. Benefits. All right, so this one is going to be a little bit weird. Italicize. Choose one. Choose one. And they are Hand, Eye, and Flame. Eye of Mitharin, Flame of Mitharin, Hand of Mitharin. +4 reputation. Oh my gosh. Choice. The church is too big to be able to properly be part of it. You have to. Ooh. Your reputation with it individually, you have to pick a faction within the faction in order to get somewhere with it. With choice. Now, is there something that we can grab, which is text? Religious text. Okay, that's all good and fine. You already will likely have that. Eyes of Mitharan. This is actually following a bad format here. That should be tabbed. This should be tabbed. Okay, here we go. There we go. We just get rid of that, actually. Eyes of Mitharan. You get Detect Magic. You gain... as an innate Divine spell. Devon spell. Why can't I remember how to spell Divine? Okay. That's why I can never remember. Divine Cantrip. Flame of Mitharan. If I remember correctly, the flame is the devotes. Yeah, they're the clergy. Doctrine, teaching, and followers. So they're like the apostles and things like that. Okay. Is there anything for speech? Block level protection. Oh. There we go. Not as mains. What about cantrips? Glamorize, guidance, haunting hymns. I kind of like the haunting hymn idea. Yeah. Let's go with haunting hymn. Oh, posh. All right, and then the Hand of Mitharan is the military side. This is gonna be a weapon proficiency. Let's see here. What was the weapon that I gave Mitharan? What was a favorite weapon? The Gussaram. Curved blade hook. Yeah, it's the one with the hook on it. So this is so that you don't have to be a champion and you have this is so that you can be any character and have this weapon, whereas how did I do this before with other things? Just access, right? Yeah. I just did dwarf trait, and then I did for Terminates. The Ghost Ray is a simple weapon for you. Okay, I can just do that. So it scales up as per normal anyways. That way, if you can play like... That way, if you want to, you could play like a Cloister Cleric and still be able to use the Gussaram as a weapon if you wanted to. Like, again, this is just kind of to open up options, because I don't think the Haunting Hymn... Like, the Detect Magic cantrip is extraordinarily useful because most casters take this anyways. So it's kind of like a +1 cantrip. So you can make the argument that it's not even close. But the Eye of Matharin is very secretive in nature. It's very distrusting. It's not like there's a lot of baggage that comes with that. Whereas the Flame is just like, no, we are very open. We get to be exactly who we want. It's more about flavor than anything. And most feats, I believe, give you 2 cantrips. So I don't think I'm overdoing it. All right, I feel pretty good. We got both Maledictra and Solmethus done. I got 2 of them done today because we worked pretty quickly. And I had a really good backgrounding for both of these. These were relatively easy. Knight Standard was really easy. And then the Matharin Pillars was really, really easy. Interestingly, I don't actually have a Arcane School. Really in any of these. Like, I have the Grave Barons, the Dynasty, and Wingdom left. I guess the Dynasty would have some arcane studies, and Wingdom would have a little bit as well. Well, the Wingdom would actually be more about arcane. It would be more about alchemical. Like, I have Primal kind of scattered about. The Divine stuff is mostly written to Solmethus. And then the Arcane, I guess, would be actually in the Grave, would be in the Dynasty, because that's mostly dragon focused. So it actually makes sense that we haven't gotten there yet. The Barons will definitely be a lot of occult stuff. Actually, I could have turned this into more of the occult. That's more of them facing the occult. Like, the Psychopath Mask is very occultish in my opinion. This is more thief-like. And then this is more survival. So, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense between across the board of all 3. All right. It is 5-2, meaning it is time for me to call it a day. Thank you very much for everybody for swinging by, those who did. Shout out to Frontline HQ for the follow. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for following. Welcome to the tavern. And yeah, until next time, guys, have yourself a nice day. Cheers.